Bully boy Prince Harry is using his usual tactics to try and force the king into a meeting in London next month.
Nobody expected the blowback to be this brutal. After Prince Harry lost his UK security appeal, he sat down with the BBC and dropped a line that had jaws dropping across royal circles. He actually said he didn't know how long his father had left, and he'd like to reconcile. That single statement, it was like a grenade tossed into Buckingham Palace. The clip spread like wildfire, and the timing could not have been more piercing. Critics wasted no time branding it calculated, and just like that, whatever fragile calm existed was shattered in an instant. This is no longer family tension, it's full-blown strategy, it's optics. It's a chess game where every move is performed under the blinding spotlight and silence itself becomes louder than any press conference. Palace insiders are painting this moment in razor-sharp terms. And honestly, if you want to understand why reconciliation keeps slipping through their fingers, you've got to look at the court battles, the media plays, and the brutal timing of it all.
If Prince Harry had any sense that King Charles's privacy mattered, that King Charles's dignity mattered, there would not have been this leak to the Daily Mirror.
Behind closed doors, senior aides were reportedly horrified, not just by what Harry said, but by how he tied King Charles's health into a very public row about security. To the monarchy, the logic is simple. You can't sue the government in broad daylight, then expect the king to secretly intervene behind the scenes. The monarch is supposed to be the ultimate fountain of justice, not a secret back-channel fixer for a live legal battle. Harry's words boxed everyone in. Once you drag your father's health onto national television, any private phone call becomes a ticking time bomb. The next headline, the next soundbite. The more that clip trended, the less oxygen there was for any untelevised, honest conversations. One single interview turned a tense standoff into a padlocked door.
I feel like Harry is trying to bully King Charles into a meeting now. I really want the palace to hold firm, but I am.
And then came a smaller but telling detail. Charles, still extending an olive branch, offered Harry rooms at Buckingham Palace, and Harry, he flat out declined. He booked a hotel instead. On paper, that sounds harmless, but in the world of royal logistics, it screamed volumes. Palaces come with structure, staff, and oversight. Hotels, they mean control. Who comes, who visits, who films, who posts. All of it on Harry's terms. To palace officials, that was confirmation of what they already suspected. This wasn't about closeness to family. This was about playing the media game, and the choice didn't go unnoticed. The refusal of the palace's controlled environment looked like a deliberate move, a way of saying the narrative comes first. And that, right there, fueled the next round of accusations.
Harry is doing this for selfish reasons. I don't think it's got anything to do with him wanting to truly make amends with his father. He needs content. He needs that royal association. They both do. Their relevancy is in decline every single day.
Insiders began connecting dots, and they didn't like the picture forming. Every time the king had major state business, Harry seemed to conveniently pop up with either a court appearance or a surprise event. One courtier joked that only a cynic would see a pattern, but we all know what that meant. The monarchy despises split screens. State visits are choreographed like a game of chess. Every move precise, every angle calculated. Competing headlines? Never an accident. At first, maybe they could forgive, twice even. But the more the palace started to believe Harry's appearances were strategically colliding with state events, the more quietly and firmly those royal doors began to slam shut.
There's a bit of me that's unsure whether it's Harry doing it or whether it could be someone obviously in Montecito that is actually doing it, because perhaps they don't want the meeting.
King Charles's strategy? Blunt and cold. Don't fuel the drama. People close to him swear he barely even mentions Harry, not even in private. And that silence? It isn't cruelty, it's control. He knows he can't be the steady hand of the state while moonlighting as a private fixer in a political legal mess. When staffers from both camps were spotted having a drink in London, gossip rags screamed, "Peace summit," but the palace clapped back. It was nothing more than a courtesy call. At the palace, silence isn't just golden, it's the rule. The side that breaks it always pays the price, usually in lost access. It's not a grudge, it's a discipline test. Charles is betting on time, duty, and quiet routine to outlast Harry's headlines.
Because Tash, it just hasn't come from anyone connected to the royals. I mean, it's coming out of the US.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to their, because again, I know the nuts and bolts in terms of how these newspapers work. This leak is not to its royal editor, Russell Myers, but rather to its US editor, Christopher Buckton.
Yeah.
But while Harry and Charles wrestled in the spotlight, another story unfolded softly, almost tenderly. Kate's cancer battle has reshaped her entire rhythm. Reports describe her leaning deeply into mind-body-spirit recovery, moving with a calmer, steadier tone and easing her way back into royal duties. It humanized the monarchy's year in a way nothing else could. For once, people had something to rally behind that wasn't drama. And William, he stayed William. Less public about spirituality, more focused on service, work, and the routine of family life. And that contrast matters. While Harry is seen battling institutions and narratives, William and Kate are seen holding down the fort with family and duty. Neither road is easy, but in the court of public opinion, they land very, very differently. And that difference will become crucial when the next rumor starts catching fire.
Whether Harry is aware of it, does he genuinely want to meet with his father and someone's trying to sabotage that, a bit like that meeting that was revealed with Meredith Maines? Or are they in on it? Are they hoping that the king does shut down this meeting and Harry can play victim again, saying, oh, my father refuses to meet me. I've tried. I've given them olive branches.
And oh, what a rumor it is. A whisper that just won't die. Word on the street is Netflix has its eyes on a Princess Diana documentary, perfectly timed for 2027, 30 years since Paris. Early chatter only, nothing official, but the timing writes itself. The audience? Global. The risk? Nuclear. Experts warn such a project could burn to ash what little is left between William and Harry, maybe even trigger dueling documentaries. The mere gossip of it shows exactly where the money still points. And Netflix? They're in the game. ROCKED, Harry and Meghan's production company, just renewed its multi-year first-look deal. Netflix gets dibs on whatever pitches they make. One feel-good short about the Masaka kids is already in the pipeline. But a Diana project? That would be the rocket. And rockets always bring fire and fall out.
This constant victim narrative that Harry and Meghan try to peddle and push. But you're right, the king, this needs to be a precursor of what exactly is going to happen. It's obvious what's going to happen. If he does meet him, it will be leaked.
Streaming platforms aren't just counting clicks anymore. They're studying everything. How long people stay glued to a show, how fast interest drops week to week, which countries watch the longest, and most importantly, what people buy afterward. If an episode gets viewers clicking add to cart within minutes of the credits rolling, that's a goldmine. That's why the trend has shifted. Snackable lifestyle segments, picture-perfect recipes, quick hosting tips, and meme-worthy moments are the bread and butter. Less confessional, more commercial, less heart-to-heart, more storefront. So where does Harry fit in this shiny creator world? That's the million-dollar question. Outside of royal gravity, his ideas sometimes struggle to land. Inside the orbit of Diana, his military service, and his humanitarian legacy, he's bankable. That's exactly why a Diana project would be explosive. Not just because of what's said, but because of how William would react. One wrong tone, one hint of score settling, and it would blow up like gasoline on open flames.
So what Harry, I believe, is trying to do here is say, Papa, these are the terms that I'm prepared to meet. This isn't a big grand gesture. This is just a father and a son meeting up. But the irony of using the press to...
And here's a cautionary tale everyone needs to remember. Recall that viral 2018 Windsor visit when people swore Donald Trump kept the Queen waiting and even walked in front of her? Social media ate it up, but palace accounts tell the opposite. The Queen had actually arrived early to check the steps herself. Trump walked exactly where he was asked. Tea was cordial, even lively. So why bring this up now? Because when it comes to royals, narratives warp faster than you can blink. Gossip becomes gospel overnight. If you want to decode this family's story, there's one golden rule. It's all about control versus trust. Who controls the story and who trusts whom not to twist it into a weapon? Right now, that trust is shattered. From where things stand, two realistic doors are open. Door 1, Harry pauses the government litigation. That would free the king to speak to him privately without brushing against a constitutional tripwire. Doctor 2, Team Sussex stops dropping their public bombshells right on top of royal state trips. That would free the palace to quietly extend small olive branches without fearing ambush. Neither door is easy. Both mean sacrificing the very leverage that generates headlines. And then there's the third rail buzzing in the background, the Diana Project. Handle it with humility and generosity toward William, and it could feel like a tribute. Handle it with fire or revenge, and it becomes a nuclear accelerant. Here's the checklist. If Harry pauses his legal maneuvers, that's a green light for private talks. If the Sussex's Netflix content cracks the top 10 and holds for weeks, the lifestyle lane still pays. If products sell out right after an episode drop, that's Netflix gold and a reason to keep investing. And if Harry and Meghan finally stop using health-related remarks or timed appearances during state travel, maybe, just maybe, someone someone learned a lesson. And as for Diana, watch for signs, rights clearances, archival calls, a director being attached. Until then, it's just smoke. But if those signals start appearing, prepare for an eruption. The palace knows one thing above all: timing is everything. In the royal world, optics are currency, embargoes, exclusives, carefully chosen backdrops. They can flip an ordinary appearance into a headline-defining moment. A sunrise pap walk reads one way, a quiet side gate entrance reads another. Even something as simple as whether Harry stays in a hotel or a palace becomes a statement. If Harry truly wants those royal doors to reopen, it's not just about what he says, it's about when, where, and how he says it. Diffusing this drama doesn't require miracles, it requires discipline. No dropping headlines during state trips, no health-adjacent one-liners while legal appeals are still live. And if a reconciliation call does happen, it never leaks, ever. The palace notices restraint. Audiences notice too, even if they can't always explain why. Suddenly, the air just feels calmer. That's the power of timing. And let's not forget the quiet character lurking in the background of this saga: legal risk. As long as Harry's government litigation is ongoing, every private call is dangerous. Who spoke? What was said? Which lane does it touch? The monarchy's guardrail is constitutional. The sovereign cannot, under any circumstances, meddle in live disputes with ministers and courts. It's not just protocol, it's firewall. And then there's discovery. If conversations exist, they can be subpoenaed. Diaries, notes, even casual references can get dragged into the courtroom. The palace's solution? Brutal but effective. Limit the record until the matter is dead. That's why silence isn't just a tactic. It's legal hygiene. Now Meghan, she's in her own league. Her superpower is packaging. She can turn a casual kitchen clip into a meme and a meme into a product drop. In the lifestyle lane, that's dynamite, but it's also risky. When fans start suspecting that intimate family moments are just trailers for the next big launch, the trust starts to crack. The surfing video, the soft focus photos, the curated reveals, all of it can either warm the audience or fuel cynics, depending on what lands next. The cleanest strategy? Clarity. If something is intimate, leave it intimate. Don't spin it. If something is promotional, own it and deliver the goods immediately. The fastest way to kill the cash grab critique? Over-deliver on substance, not scarcity. So what's the best case scenario here? Simple. The legal battle cools down. Small private gestures quietly rebuild trust. If a Diana project comes to life, it's handled by third parties, loaded with credible sources, and unmistakably generous toward William. Tie the premiere to a clear, charitable cause, show audited results, and leave zero loose claims dangling. That version? It could work. Worst case? Escalation. More calendar collisions, more health-related comments, and a Diana documentary dripping with fire instead of humility. That's the nightmare. William and Harry hardening into parallel press machines, each dragging Diana's legacy into a tug of war. Most likely, the messy middle, parallel lives with occasional flare-ups. Not peace, but tolerable if everyone stops trying to turn every Tuesday into a news cycle. Because reconciliation, it's not a photo op. It's measured in quiet phone calls that never leak, in problems that get solved without ever making headlines. The palace will keep betting on silence and stability. Harry will keep betting on his voice and momentum. Both sides might win in the short run, but only one usually survives the next news cycle. And here's the kicker. If Harry's only viable stories are the ones the palace can't live with, and the palace's only acceptable stories are the ones that don't move the needle, this ends one of two ways, maybe in the quiet, maybe in 2027. But either way, the next real move won't be loud. It'll happen where the cameras aren't. But